Hello, hello, hello. We are back. We are back in effect. Getting through the week. Getting through the week. Like I say, that's what it's about. That's what it's about. We gotta try to figure it out and get through the week. Because in this country of America, that's what it's about. Getting through the week. Week after week after week after week after week. Getting through the week. Hopefully somebody gets a vacation. I don't know who's getting a vacation. I need a vacation. Thank you. See, that guy was nice. That guy actually let some people turn without being a jerk about it. See, that guy must be going on vacation, or must have just gotten back from vacation. That was really nice. That actually makes me feel good inside. You ever get that feeling inside that nobody else ever gets to experience or doesn't realize? You're just like, you know what? That was one of those moments caught, you know? That was just like, man, that was nice. That was a nice thing. I'm proud. Well, I hope that person was an American. And if they were an American, that was very nice of them. That was a very nice thing to do. So credit to all the good Americans out there that don't always have to be so cutthroat and act like you're driving and you're going somewhere and that's all that matters. You know, some people are like, no, please. There's traffic everywhere I go. So please, by all means, make your turn. So anyway, so yeah, vacation time. Who knows anything about vacation? Are vacations good or are vacations bad? That's maybe the question I'll present for this car talk. And this car talk is brought to you in part by, I don't know, you decide. You pick it. I don't know if it's popcorn. I don't know if it's a drink. I don't know if it's a gasoline station. I don't know. Because I don't even know if anybody's listening to these talks. Actually, I do know if people are listening or not, but it doesn't matter because when you got to do a car talk, you have to do a car talk. All right? And people on YouTube, they know it because I see people in their cars and I'm like, that guy does car talks. Anyway, so vacations, are they good or are they bad? How many should you have a year? What constitutes a vacation? Is a vacation a set amount of days? How many days? 5 days? 4 days? 2 days? How long is a vacation? How much money do you have to spend on a vacation? A lot of money? A little bit of money? No money? I have no idea. That's something that was never really determined in this country as far as I know. The only thing you know is that you hear people say that they have to go on vacation. And it's like, why? Why do you have to go on a vacation? For some people, they think it just comes with the territory. It's like these people coming over from the border. Do you think they're coming over and they're like, right off the bat, they're like, we need a vacation? Like, where do we sign up to get a vacation around here? Because I know somebody's going to say it. Someone's going to tell them. They're going to say, you traveled all this distance to get here. I think you deserve a vacation for your long journey. For traveling as far as you did. I mean, what's a person supposed to do when they come across the border? Like honestly, what are they supposed to expect? I mean, pay your taxes? I mean, like, why would you leave your country? You know? And then come here and say you need a job. Like you did it to find a job. I'm like, huh? I'm like, have you seen the jobs in this country? Like, what job are you coming across the border, for that you're like, is it like, who are you going to be working for? You know what I mean? Like, are you going to be working for the government? You're going to get a government job? Are you going to get a corporate job, corporate American job? Like, what job? You're saying you want to come over here because there's no jobs where you are, so you want to come to the country illegally and then say that you did it for a job. Huh? I don't get it. Maybe it's just my old mind working, or the fact that I've lived here for a little while. But I, like, from the job perspective, I'm just kind of like, I mean, the way these decades go, the way these years go, a lot of the time, you're just kind of thankful that you have a job. That's the impression that's given. Like, be thankful that you have a job. And then, so do I get a vacation? Like, what is it? And then they'll say, well, the only reason why you get a vacation is because the federal government says we can't work you, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So be thankful that you have a federal government that regulates these things. Otherwise, do you know what these corporations would do? Do you have any idea what these corporations would do? If they could, if they had their way? And you have people coming across the border that are saying they're here because they want work. They need work. To do what with the money? I mean, I could see if the people were coming over and they were starving. You know what I mean? Like they're, impoverished and starving and, they got no clothes on their back. Something like that. And then you're like, man, these people got it bad. Like, these guys are just, like, they're roughed up, dude. These guys, like, where'd they come from? But you would think you'd hear those stories, that you would hear those types of stories, that these people are, like, really, like, roughed up, and they came from some war-torn place, and it's been like that for, years, decades, like, messed up areas. I mean, can you come from Mexico and then come across the border and then be like, yeah, I came from Mexico? I mean, do people do that? Because as far as I know, people go to Mexico on vacation. And it's like, how do you go to Mexico on vacation with everything that's going on right now? And people do it. People do it. I'm like, who are these people? Like, do they not have any principles? Like, do they not have any understanding of, like, how do you have a border crisis and then people are going to vacation in Mexico? I'm assuming some people, spring break is coming up. Where's everybody going for spring break? I mean, even the kids, that's the funny thing. Like, these kids that think, they need a break. They need a spring break. To do what? I don't know. But this country it's kind of weird. It's a weird dynamic. It's weird how they've strung this stuff all along. And then some people get to do it, and some people will never do it. You know what I mean? Like, some kids will never go on spring break. They'll just get a break from school. You know what I mean? But they're not gonna, go to school and then, say, okay, I need a break and I gotta go to spring break. Because that's what they call it, right? Spring break. Speaking of which, the time is going to be changing. Like in the next week or two. You got daylight savings. Springs forward. That's going to mess everything up. Everybody for that day is like, oh my God, for the week. For the week, they're going to be all messed up. It's like how many people out there did you write the date wrong? How many people wrote the date wrong? Like from the new year. Like, did that happen? Did that happen to you? Did that happen to you? What did it happen to? Anybody out there? I gotta say, this was probably the first year that I hadn't written the date wrong. I guess I've either lived long enough, or I was just like, this wasn't one of those years where I was writing the wrong date. Excuse me, the wrong date, and just kept writing the wrong date. 2023. Like, oh, we still wanted 2023. Like, is that how it works? Like, if it's a good year and you're like, oh man, this was the best year. I only wish that this year would keep on going and that it would just stay the same year. Because it gets sad, right? You get, at the end of the year, if you have to say goodbye to the year and then say, oh no, now 2023 is over. Right? Because now you're thinking to yourself, you're like, wait, what year is it? Is it 2023? Wait, I thought it was 2023. No, it's 2024. That's the year of our Lord, right? And so, I don't know, man. Spring break 2024? Like, where are you going? Are you going to Mexico? I mean, if you're in California, see, I think the way that it works, if you're in California, everybody goes to Hawaii for spring break, right? I thought that was like the common practice. Like spring break, you go to Hawaii, or you maybe go to Las Vegas. Those are the two areas that you go to if you're in California. At least if you're over in the LA area, I think that's what it is. I don't know where else in the country. Like, if you're in the Midwest, like if you're up in Michigan, like, where do you go for spring break? Like, you go up to Canada or something? Like where are you guys going for spring break? There's always Florida. Everybody goes to Florida. But I mean, if you're flying to go to spring break, I'm just like, man, dude, jump on a plane? That's supposed to be a break? Like, I don't know. It sounds like work. What do I know? I'm not one of those guys that goes on spring break or gets a vacation. Although this year I'm hoping that I get on, I get to go on a vacation. I haven't traveled in a while, long time in fact. Haven't gone anywhere like where I was like traveling specifically, like, in a route that like I wasn't familiar with, or that I was like, man, this is gonna be some traveling. Because you get anxious, right? Do you get anxious? I get anxious. Like, if I gotta go somewhere and it's planned like ahead in advance, like let's say I want to go on a hiking trip or something, or I want to do like a day trip out to go, mountain biking or something, and I'm thinking to myself, like, I gotta plan this like maybe a month in advance, a week in advance, 2 weeks in advance, because you got to get your head in that, right? You got to think to yourself, man, dude, like, I gotta pack, I gotta make sure I have all my equipment, I gotta make sure that I bring all the clothes that I'm gonna be wearing, because now you're talking about, I guess technically a vacation is when you pack your clothes, right? Let's start with that on a vacation. What's a vacation? Okay, well, if you're packing clothes to go somewhere, chances are you could possibly say that that's a vacation, or that there's some aspect of vacation that has to do with packing clothes. right? You're putting it in a suitcase, a duffel bag, some kind of baggage, luggage type situation. You know what I mean? Also planning the gas, man, because that's the other thing. Because like all this stuff, it's like you wind up saying, man, I gotta gas up the tank. How much gas am I gonna need? Right? These are aspects of a vacation. So you wind up, on the gas side, you're spending money. So you got to think like vacation requires gasoline. So, and if you're traveling a couple hours, if you're driving a couple hours, man, depending on where you live, like the gas prices, I don't know about you, but like as far as like the gasoline is about like $3.10 where I am. It's been hovering right around that marker for like the past, I don't know, month. Just right around 308, 309. And it's at that point where they had the primaries roll through. And so on the gas prices, that's where it was at. It was 305 over here. 305 where I'm looking at. 309 over there. And I would, on this channel, there's a lot of stuff that I could talk about. I don't like to name drop, so I don't like to brand name drop. I could probably say a lot of things, but without any type of sponsorship or without any viewing on the channel, like it's like, I don't want to needlessly start saying, what soda I'm drinking or what am I drinking at this point in time, right? Because then it's free advertising. And so I hold myself back from saying certain things, because again, on a channel where you could be broadcasting and who knows who could be hearing it, and it could be one person listening, but still, you gotta understand, I'm not trying to sway people in what they do or what they see or what they say, not that I'm opposed to it or that I wouldn't do it, I would certainly like to talk freely, but in this day and age, the way that things are, again, I'm not going on any vacations. I'm trying to plan a vacation. And it's how do you get the money to go on vacation, right? Because again, whether I'm doing it by car, okay, at 309, 306 a gallon, and if you're listening to this and you're in a state where you're paying more than that for gasoline, right? And you say to yourself, man, where does he live? At that price, I would be buying gas left and right. And it's like, in the reality of it, it's like, that's, gas prices are telling of your area. So it tells you how much, traveling that you're going to be doing. And it also tells you what type of neighborhood you're in. And so, that's, it's a racket, right? Gasoline's a racket. The prices, those things were bobbling up and down since, Biden took office. There was those months, those weeks where it was like kind of like yo-yoing. And I'm like, what's with the gasoline? Like, is it going to go down and continue going down? Is it going to go up? Like right now, if Biden stays in office, you think those prices on gasoline are going to go up or going to go down? Because I know these companies can't handle, all these delivery trucks. And right now, they're probably saying they're going to have less deliveries. They're going to be, because people are going to be strapping their belts tighter. And they're going to be cutting back on services and so forth. So when they start cutting back on services because that money's not coming in, or there's a chance that they're going to be let go of, or they're going to be filing for unemployment, like, are you going to spend more money on gas or less money on gas? Because for some people, they don't care about the cost of gas at all. They're just like, whatever, I have enough money where I don't have to worry about the gas price, right? That's like for them, that mentality. They might say, hey, I go on vacation every year. Like that's a guarantee. Like that's written in my contract or in my work contract. In which case, like I don't know what these people do for a living. Or maybe they just like to travel. There's those people that just like to travel, and they travel all the time. And for them, jumping in a car and driving a couple hours to go stay somewhere else, maybe that's nothing for them. Maybe that's common, you know? And I've known people, I know people that that's their approach. They kind of like that. But again, I mean, paying attention to things and the way they are in this country, it's funny, like what's become normal. Like what's normal for you versus what's normal to somebody else. And then you think, you got to ask yourself, like, why is this country in the shape that it's in? Well, it's probably because everybody thinks that their own lifestyle is normal. And when you look at it from the outside in, or from the inside out, and then you ask yourself, we all call ourselves American? And you have all of this disproportion? And you look at like this state or that state or this neighborhood or that neighborhood, this community, that community, right? And then you try to understand and say, what's normal? What's normal? And I don't know. Like as a young person, I never thought about going on spring break. I've heard of spring break. I heard people used to go on spring break. But that's why, in America, they made televisions, right? The television is the real vacation. That's what everybody has, that everybody goes to. That's like, it's your first and your last resort. You know what I mean? When in doubt, go to the television. And go watch Netflix or go watch, streaming service. That's going to be my vacation. Because that's what happens when those people get burnt out from traveling too much. They travel, and then when they finally get the bug out of them, and they finally travel to every place on the planet that they possibly wanted to go to, or that they had in their bucket list, that they're like, man, I got 20,000 places in my bucket list that I want to go and see. I said, why? What for? What's the... Well, because for those people, that's how they, that's what's driving them to go to work, right? That's what makes them go and do the job that they're doing in that corporate environment, because at the end of the day, they know what's going on, but they have to have a reason what makes it worth it. Because if you don't have kids, if you're not married, if you don't have children, grandchildren, you know what I mean? And it's like, you have money, it's like, to do what? What are you going to do with your time? And if you're single, like to go traveling by yourself, I've heard of girls that like to go and travel by themselves. Like girls that, like, and they would talk about it. They would be like, yeah, I just went and I traveled by myself to like Africa. And then they'll say that they liked it. They're like, yeah, I liked it. It was fun. I traveled by myself. I'm like, to Africa? I'm like, get out of here, dude. Like, what are you talking about? Like, this ain't no 7 years in Tibet, man. This is like girls that are talking about going and traveling by themselves and then saying that they like it and that they find it interesting. I'm like, these are girls that have money and do not know what to do with it. You know what I mean? Like, they're trying to say that that's fun. But there's no way, dude. There's no way. Maybe once you do that, maybe once, twice. But if you're doing that on a regular, all the time, year after year after year, and all you're doing is just traveling by yourself to like far distant locations, like, I don't know, man. I don't want to say it's bizarre, but when I had heard about that, like the first time, I was just like, this is individualism, dude. You want to talk about individualism? When you're traveling by yourself because you have money and you need a passport and you're traveling to far off distant places where it's like, you know, like you most likely won't speak the language at all, and you're proud to say that, yeah, that you traveled here and you traveled there, like with no tour guide, with no friends, with no guide, like no family, nothing, cousins, distant cousins, something. I mean, that's like the epitome of individualism. You know what I mean? And then to come back to say that you did what? Because who's going to believe you? I mean, who's going to believe me? If I said I went off to Timbuktu, you know, wherever in the world, and I saw this and that, I saw elephants, and I saw safari animals, and I saw all kinds of bazaars, and went through the markets, and traveled here and traveled there, like all by myself, like, I think people would be like, you're kind of weird. You know what I mean? I'm like, no, here, look, here's the pictures, here's everything, here's the documentation. What? A girl can get away with that. A guy is not going to get away with that. They're going to question that guy's sanity, or they're going to question that guy's mental state. They're going to be like, what are you doing? Like you just travel by yourself to like far off places? And yet again, it's like, you know, for a woman to do it, it's perceived to be charming. It's perceived to be like, wow, that's an independent woman. Like she's, you know, she's confident in her ability to like go and travel and see places by herself, not on business, on pleasure, just going off to places. And I'm like, are you like, you know, Rick and, what is it, Rick Rick Morty? How do you say it? Like, are you meeting up with somebody? Like, when you're going and to a far off place and you're not even meeting up somewhere with somebody that, like, you know, it's like, dude, like, either you got a lot of money, or like you don't know what to do with your time. Anyway, I don't know. That's kind of my thoughts on it. You know, spring break, traveling to Mexico, or traveling by yourself. You know, what's that all about? Is that something real? Do people really do that? Does the younger generation want to do that? Is that what they plan on doing with their lives as they get older? Deciding to go and travel to places by themselves? Like not meeting up with anybody, or like doing what exactly? Like making a video or something? I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. That's my 2 cents. That's my 2 thoughts, whatever. Get through the week. Just wanted to share my thoughts. All right then. Peace out. We'll talk to you soon.